All right, hello friends. Welcome to my little sewing nook. Today is just gonna be like a real short, one day build, as Adam Savage likes to say. I'm going to basically just make a little fabric trash bag for my car. I have a teeny tiny little Mini Cooper, and I regularly eat and drink stuff in there, and there's like zero storage space for anything. And also, keeping my car clean is kind of hard for me. So I figure a little garbage bag that I can take out of the car, everything's contained, I can just take it out of the car and empty it. Seems much easier than just having like random things floating around in my tiny car. So yeah, basically what I'm going to do is I'll take you through kind of my thought process for how I wanted it to look, do a little bit of a cutting process with you, and show you how I put it together. That's about it. Cool. What I did was, I'm really bad at looking at a flat thing and seeing how it looks as a 3D thing. So I made this little paper guy. Pretty simple. It's gonna be 6 inches by 5 inches by, I believe, 8. Yeah, 8. I have it in centimeters because I wanted to have something that was exactly the same shape, just smaller, because obviously I was doing it on paper. And then you can see all my math on the inside where I was trying to math it for being flat, and then I was like, why don't I just make one? So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be really simple, just 2 pieces of fabric, and I'm hoping that I have enough. I've got like this little scrap of ripstop fabric that I used to make my chalk bag for climbing. So, oh yeah, I should be able to get 2 of those pieces out of this. So yeah, I'm gonna use ripstop as the lining for this guy, just because then it's, kind of waterproof in case I don't know, get coffee in it or whatever. I can just wipe down the inside of it. And then I had these other fabrics kind of left over. I'm not making out of fleece, that's for later. We'll just ignore that. I had these other fabrics kind of left over from when I was making that bag. This is the fabric that I ended up using. This is from Joann's. I actually think all of this is from Joann's. And I'm kind of thinking, as much as I love my Halloween fabrics, I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna make it out of this, just as like a little nod to anyone who sees it in the back of my car, that I'm part of the LGBTs. Yeah, so cool. I guess let's get started. So let's get this cut out. Ruler, some chalk. I think that's all I need. Cool. Three. This is actually just way easier if I make a pattern for you, which it's actually easier for me too. So let's do that. Here's my little guy. We're gonna make it into a big guy. If you want it the same size as mine, you'll need 2 pieces of printer paper just taped together. I just realized this is gonna be 11 inches, which is perfect. So we'll start at the bottom here, because we won't have to cut anything. So 11 inches wide. Then you're going to measure up 8 inches. And connect that. Great. Then from there, you're going to go in 2.5 on both sides. Okay. This should then be 6. Yep, great. So mark your midpoint at 3. And right at the midpoint, you're also gonna go up 2.5 inches. Then again over here, and over here. Make that line. Then again, 2.5 inches from here. Oops, that one. And 2.5 inches from here. Connect those. All right, perfect. So there's your pattern. This is a net pattern, and that just means that there is no seam allowance on this pattern. Add 1/2 seam allowance, and we're going to label this trash bag for car, and it is 8 inches by 6 inches by 5 inches. So there you go. You can also label this and say cut 2 outer fabric and cut 2 lining. And that is kind of exactly how I would label any of my patterns that I make. You know, title it what it is, how large it is. So for this it would be dimensions, but for say a like commercial pattern, it'll say, you know, size 12 or size 16, whatever you want. And then it usually also tells you, yeah, cut 2 outer, cut 2 lining. The last thing that you would see on a commercial pattern or any other pattern that you're probably getting from someone is there will be a grain line. Not as important on this type of pattern, but you can add one. Basically it means, you know, which direction do you not want it to stretch? And I don't want it to stretch up and down. It can stretch a little side to side. So I'm gonna put my grain line pretty much right down the middle here. And those little marks is usually what you see for a grain line. On commercial patterns, you might also see them as this. They also might just label it grain line. So, you know, it's your pattern. You can do whatever the fuck you want. So there you go. Cut this bad boy out, and I will see you in just a second for putting it onto our lining and stuff. I'm going to trace this out with some extra on all the sides, which if you really want to, you can get real cutesy with it and see if you can line it up such that you can sew on the lines. Oh yeah, okay, great. So just going to trace this, and then I'll show you how you can add on your seam allowance. All right, so there we go. There's our first piece. So if you want to measure it by hand, you can. Otherwise, I would highly recommend a clear ruler like this. These clear rulers are really nice though, I would highly recommend. So you basically just measure which line. So this line right here is a 1/2 inch out. You would lay that line against the line that you've already made, and then it's super easy to add a 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Just like that. Done. 1/2 inch. Wow. So yeah, it's one of the things that can actually save you like an assload of time. So I would highly recommend getting one of these bad boys. There you go. So this was your net pattern. This is your 1/2 inch seam allowance cut out on the second line. So I'm going to trace this guy one more time on this piece. So I've got 2 inner portions, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing for my outer fabric, and then I will show you how I sew those. So cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the lining first. So I've got my 4 pieces, 2 lining pieces and 2 outer pieces. I've also got my 4 little ties, which ended up being just 5x2 pieces. Yeah, so there's that. First thing I'm going to do is do my lining. Basically we're gonna make the lining, then make the outer pieces, and then put the 2 together and do some top stitching so it looks nice. So first thing I'm gonna do is put these 2 kind of shorter ends together. So this guy right here. And I just realized I did those the wrong way around. Now I have chalk on the inside of mine. Don't do what I did, do right sides together. So I actually stopped short, so I didn't start sewing until here, and I stopped here because we should be doing these short sides as well. So I'm gonna do it correctly this time so that you guys know what I'm actually talking about. Only do the short side, that's it. Then we're gonna do our short sides. So what you're gonna do is on this one, bring these 2 short sides together like so, and sew that bit. Then again on this side, bring these 2 sides together and sew up that bit. Alright, so that's one side done. To the other side, put these 2 sides together like so. And last bit here, put those 2 short sides together and sew that up there. Okay. Then, last bit, sew up your long sides. I would recommend starting from the bottom to the top, just in case your fabric like stretches a little bit, and then it's not as weird at the bottom. All right, flip her inside out. Let's see how we did. Yeah, there we go. I mean, it's not gonna stand up right now because it's just not gonna stand up right now. But Would you look at that? See? We've got a flat bottom. Usually not what we want, but you know. And look at that. Just a little bag. Oh man, it's so freaking cute. I'm really excited. I'm going to actually press all of this stuff, and then I will probably do the little tabby things next. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I just pressed the side seams of this guy, so it looks a little bit nicer when I do the thing later. Let's make a couple ties. If you do want to make these ties, I would probably make them much longer and skinnier, but I'm going to put a snap on this so I can snap it and unsnap it pretty easy. If you don't have any snaps, like I said, just do longer ties. So real easy, right sides together. You're just gonna go around long edge, one short edge, long edge, leave this side open. So let's do that on both of these. All right, so we have those done. What you wanna do is clip these corners pretty close to your seam line. I don't know if that's showing up. So they look like this. And then I'm just gonna trim down. I've got a little extra, salvage edge on this side, so I'm going to trim those down. And then what we'll do is we'll actually flip these inside out. Alrighty friends, we are close to being done. All I did was I flipped these guys inside out, ironed them down so they're nice and flat, and then I also turned in my seam allowance on the outer bag and pressed that down as well, just to get us ready to do the last step. So what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna top stitch these guys. Basically all that means is, make a stitch probably 1/4 inch in around the whole thing. It looks nice, it stabilizes things, and it looks nice. So yeah, gonna do that real fast. This one was not so great. I kind of look close on this bit here, but I don't really care. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this, which is right sides in, this, which is right side out, and put them together. So if you put them inside each other, what you're gonna wanna do is basically line up. You can kind of feel with your hand that's inside that seam there. So line up the seams as best you can. Get those kind of corners put together. Same on this side. And then starting at one of the side seams, you're going to fold down your lining and pin it to the outer edge. What it should look like on the inside is something like this, where those two seams line up and your lining is a little shorter than your outside fabric. So that is what I'm going to do. Pin this all the way around with my little clippies, and then I will show you that before I top stitch it. Lesson learned. I should have cut the outer fabric a little smaller than the lining because the lining doesn't stretch at all. However, the outer fabric does. Oh well. Basically what I did to rectify that is, here's the inside. I folded over and pinned all the way around. And then when I got to the back, I sandwiched in my little tabby pieces, which will snap together around my headrest in my car. All I did was put a little pleat in the back, which it's not the prettiest thing, but I actually don't really mind. So yeah, if it's gonna bother you, then I would have picked out these side seams and just moved them in a little bit, but I don't really mind because it's just a garbage can for my car. So that's about it. I'm going to top stitch all of this stuff into place. I'm also going to back stitch across these tabs once as well, just to make sure they're really in there. So I'm gonna do that. And then we're just about done. All right, so there we are. Here's my little bag. And because the lining is a little stiffer than the outer fabric, it actually holds open really well. So here we go. All I have to do is put on the little snap up here, and then I'll give you a final reveal in my car. Would you look at that? Look how freaking cute. I love it. I'm super excited. Let's go put it in my car. Hello, baby. Hi. Yeah? Hello. Aren't you cute? This is Knox. He's enthralled. Hi. Oh, aren't you cute? There's a fluffy thing on my mic, so he's very excited about the fluffy thing, right? So excited? Okay, thank you. We're gonna go put this in the car now. Look at it! Look! It's so cute! Oh my god, my car is so dirty. Ooh, sorry. Look at how cute! Ah! There we go. Just like that, y'all. Feels good. Okay, thanks. Bye.